Gabe's in the garage. I wonder what he's doing. Hey, man, what's up? What are you doing?
What?
Hey, whoa!
Mike!
What were you doing?
Come on, man!
What are you hanging up a chandelier in the garage? I'm sorry.
It looks
I'm
nice.
sorry.
It's all about presentation. It looks nice. You come in, you say, oh, nice chandelier, I'm gonna subscribe. And then they'll look at it, it's ruined.
Sorry, man. I didn't know you were setting up a chandelier. Oh, jeez.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Gaby, and welcome to Bad Neighbor Supply Co. This is my dealership located in the north side of Pahrump, Nevada. And today we're going to be talking all about this beautiful 2023 Xpro Strom Dlx. Now we're going to be going over all kinds of cool little quirks and features and facts and all kinds of great stuff about this Strom Dlx. Now this is a 150cc fully street legal dirt bike, and the paperwork is labeled motorcycle. So you can go to any DMV or town clerk or wherever you register your vehicles, hand them the paperwork and register it just like any other motorcycle. This is a really cool bike. It has a lot of features that I personally wish were on my own Templar 250, which you'll see in just a second. I'm really impressed by this. It's got tons of power. It does about 65 miles an hour in its current configuration. You might be able to pump a little bit more out of it, but that's really fast for something this size. What I also like about this bike is the usability. It has a lot of really cool features to be able to switch it up very easily to fit a wide array of riders. I'm really impressed by it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Front, you have a 76 by 100 by 19 front wheel. So this is a bigger bike as small bikes go. Does that make sense? In dirt bikes, this is called a big wheel 150, meaning there's 150s, 125s, 80 cc's that have smaller wheels for kids, and then there's the big wheel versions that have a smaller engine but have bigger wheels and can be enjoyed by adults. Now this bike has a lot of adjustments for different seat heights, so it can be enjoyed by an adult very easily, and a teenager or a kid. Very cool bike. It is very fast though, so I wouldn't recommend putting a child on it unless your child is like baby Travis Pastrana. So up the front we have inverted forks, which are very nice. These are like a miniature version of the same forks that are used on the Templar 250. You have a beautiful front disc braking system with a speed sensor, because this does have a speedometer, because technically it is a motorcycle. And just a little build difference that I choose to do here at our dealership is there is a catch right here on the far side of the fork protector that you're supposed to run your brake cable through, but when your shocks compress for doing jumps and doing trails and stuff like that, it kind of makes it really stiff and puts a lot of stress on your brake cable. So what I do is I mount it here, but I leave this out. It's just a personal preference thing. I feel like you get a lot more fork travel and less stress on the brake cable if you do it like that. But if you do want it hooked up like that, we have no problem doing it. It's just the area that we live in is an off-roading town with all kinds of trails and jumps and stuff like that. So whoever buys this is most likely going to immediately do trails and jumps and stuff. So that is just a personal preference of the dealership type thing. If you buy this motorcycle and you want us to put it back on, no problem. Next up, we have our front Mudguard, which is really interesting. This is a cool little Mudguard. I've never seen this exact cut. And it should be noted that all of the plastics are black. So if you ever say to yourself, I love how the frame is green, but the green on all the plastics is a little too much for me, you can peel it all off and then you'll have a green frame and a black bike. You have a 4-point mounted Mudguard, so it is very sturdy and secure and won't move around, which is a difference from the Templar. The Templar has this bracket where it screws in and then you connect it. So if you crash on the Templar, it will bend a certain way. This is rigid. Up the front, you have a LED headlight with high beam and low beam. It is a DOT approved headlight, and you can see how brand new this bike really is. There is still plastic. You have DOT approved turn signals right here, which work just like a normal motorcycle. They're push to cancel. So on the handlebars, you have these beautiful green grips, which are almost perfectly colored matched to your stickers and the paint of your frame. It is like as close to my eyeballs as identical as you can possibly get between rubber and sticker and paint. Looks really nice. It's very cohesive with the coloring. So over here you have these nice grips, which are the same grips that come on the Templar 250s. They feel really nice. You have DOT mirrors here, which are very cool. They're the same mirrors that are on the Templar 250, just a little bit smaller. Over here you have the clutch lever, which is the same clutch lever you can find on the 2024 Templar 250s, which is very nice. And I wish that my own personal bike had this clutch lever because I really like it a lot. And you can adjust this wing nut right here, and it's really, really nice. Feels fantastic. Over here you have your headlight adjustment, your super bright LED headlight, high beam, low beam. You have your turn signals, which are push to cancel as priorly mentioned, and then you have a horn too because this is a motorcycle. I guess we'll talk about the key. The key right here is the same jet ski kind of snowmobile key that we've seen in other models from Xpro. It works fine. It's never fallen out on me. I have the same key on my bike and I like it quite a bit. Over here you have your kill switch and your starting button, and just like the Templar 250, you have to hold down the front brake to start it. But before we start it, I'll show you the dashboard here. Now these dashes don't really like the frame rate of my camera sometimes, but I promise you it's not flashing. You can see 0 miles right there. You can see battery, RPMs, and your speed, and then over here you do have your gear indicator. And just like most things from my dealership, the plastic is still on there, so it will stay nice and fresh for you. Over here is your front brake reservoir, which is a little bit different of a front brake reservoir that we've seen on other Xpro products, and we have a little bit different of a throttle from other Xpro products we've seen. But the throttle is still a quarter turn throttle. It's very responsive, very peppy. This bike is, don't let the size of it fool you. This has a lot of torque and a lot of power. This thing rips. So the bike is ice cold right now. I got my finger in the muffler. It is freezing cold, and I'll start it up for you. So you hold down the front brake. Kicks right over. Now this does have both kick and electric start. And you may notice that it doesn't have the compression lever style choke like the Templars do. It has the choke adjustment on the card itself, which we'll talk about in just a second. I like the air filter on this has that little suck whine to it, almost like a supercharger. If you listen really carefully. Next up, we have the gas tank, which has a little bit different of a cap that we've seen from most Xpro products. And then you have a vent tube, which these are pretty cool. I wish these came on the Templar 250. So there's a little ball in here, which if pressure builds up in the tank, it can vent out from here. And then there's like a little venti guy in this cap, which is pretty cool. And you have a really wide filler neck on this tank, which is extremely wide. This bike gets around 100 miles to the gallon, give or take. 125s that have this similar engine get about 120 miles to the gallon. This is a 150, so I'm gonna say right around 100 miles to the gallon, give or take, depending on your riding style. The handlebar risers are very different from what we've seen on other Xpro products. These are single post handlebar risers. So you have two adjustments here. You have the more forward one and then you have the back one. Right now it's on the more forward one because I'm assuming this bike is going to be purchased by an adult. Moving these bars forward a little bit gives it a more comfortable kind of seat placement for an adult. But if you have a smaller rider, you can take your bars off right here, and then there's a big Allen bolt that goes through both of these, and you loosen that Allen bolt, then you move it back to the other setting, and then your handlebars are a little bit closer to you. So if you're a shorter rider or a child or something along those lines, you can enjoy this bike as well. You have your preload and rebound adjustments on these forks. Just as a motorcycle enthusiast myself, if you don't know, I kind of like motorcycles. I find this triple tree very interesting. I've never seen a triple tree quite like this one. It's kind of strange and interesting. I'm sure it works great, but I've never seen anything like it. Moving back, you have brake plastics, just like any of the other Xpro products. These are very sturdy, very secure. And what's interesting about these is on the Templars, you normally have a bracket that holds this part of the plastic so it doesn't vibrate, but this actually kind of clips into the tank so it's nice and secure. I wish the Templars had that. There's a lot of features on this little bike that I wish my bike had, which is so funny. This is a smaller engine motorcycle, as you know, and it is air cooled. So having the extra little cooling bits to cool down your oil, because this is a fast bike, it does ride around 65 miles an hour. So there's a lot of pressure and a lot of movement, a lot of stuff happening in there, and having a little extra oil capacity that's staying nice and cool is a very good idea. Skid plate city. What's really interesting is you have a opening right here to be able to drain and change your oil, which is so helpful. On the Templars, you have to take your skid plate off to be able to change the oil, and this, you can just do it. You have 4 bolts that hold it on, 2 on the side of the engine, and then 2 back here. It is like the Templar where it's 2 8mm and 2 10mm, which is, I don't know why they use 2 different bolts for it. It doesn't make sense to me, but having a hole to be able to drain your oil without taking your skid plate off does make sense to me. Look at how cute this little starter is. Inside, you have a pretty standard carburetor with a racing air filter, which sounds very nice, and it doesn't run the bike lean or anything like that. A lot of the times, people will get carburetors and then they'll put these crazy air filters on them and not rejet it. But seeing as how this carb came with this air filter, it is jetted correctly to the air filter. So you get a nice performance boost. It's very peppy. There's a lot of acceleration, and it's really nice. Sounds very good. So the transmission on this Strom Dlx is quite interesting. This has a 4-speed manual transmission. The shift pattern is a little bit different. All the gears are up, and neutral is where first is, and then everything is up from there. You still use the clutch like a normal motorcycle, just has a little bit different of a shift pattern. I think this bike is kind of intended for to compete in a lot of racing and like miniature supercross and stuff like that. So you have that nice shift pattern. It's also easier for beginner riders as well. You know, you don't have to think about one down and then the rest up. It's nice and simple. You can just hop on this and learn how to use a clutch and enjoy riding. The bend back shift lever, so you don't break it if you ever crash. You have bend back foot pegs on both sides. It should be noted that on both sides, it is a springed bend back foot peg. When on the Templar, one side is springed and then the other one isn't to make room for the Kickstarter. But because this engine is different, there's more room for the Kickstarter, so you can have bendy boys on both sides. So here is your Kickstarter, as aforementioned. It's all the way back here, so you don't have to worry about it being in the way of your foot peg or anything like that. You have a cover over the exhaust, which it is the same material as the exhaust on the Templar, with that nice titanium that changes colors. Very, very cool. You have all your spark plug and all that stuff, your oil cooler lines right here. Everything is manufactured absolutely beautifully, and I had a really fun time building this bike. You don't have a bend back rear foot brake similar to other Xpro products. I am not sure why they aren't implementing a bend back rear foot brake. Xpro, that would be something really cool that I think you should add. Moving on, this frame is very interesting and super secure. All the welds look really good. It's beefy, it's secure. This will last you many, many, many years. But one thing that's very interesting, if you look at the top of the rear shock, you'll see a hole that goes into nowhere. The hole, can you guys see me in here? Hi. This hole right here is how you adjust the major height adjustment for a different rider. So let's say I'm an adult, which I kind of am.
I'm sorry. The way you popped up, it just.
Let's say I'm an adult, which I kind of am. I have it currently in the exact setting that it is right now. And then let's say I want to have a smaller rider ride it, or I pass it down, because this bike will last you a million years. If you take good care of it, this bike will last many, many, many years. Let's say you pass it down to your kid or whatever. You can take that bolt and then move it over, and then it will significantly drop the seat height and the whole rear end height. And then you pull these bars forward on the other adjustment, and then now it can perfectly suit a variety of different riders. Keep in mind, you also have the rebound adjustment of the front forks. You also have all your adjustments here with your shock. So you can tighten this up, and it will make it go up and be a lot stiffer of a ride for doing big jumps, or a heavier rider, or you can lower it down and have it be a softer ride and sit a little bit lower as well. I really like that. Xpro, good attention to detail. I'm very impressed by that. As someone who has built many, many, many motorcycles and many of your products, I really like that feature a lot, because now this bike is able to be enjoyed by double the amount of riders that it would have been. So you have the exact same brake reservoir and setup you do on the Templar 250, which is so overpowered for such a small bike, but you have a rear disc in the rear, obviously rear disc in the rear. And in the rear you have a 90 by 100 by 16 inch rear tire that has some beautiful knobbies on it, which you can ride on the street and on the dirt. Very good. The stock tires that come with the Xpro bikes, you may or may not know this. I had some guy come and complain about, a couple years ago, I had a guy come and complain when he was looking at one of the Templar 250s saying, oh, I don't know about these tires. I'm gonna have to get brand new tires to be able to ride it on the street. Let me show you my motorcycle real quick. This is my motorcycle, my own personal bike. This is my original Templar that I beat the living life out of every single day, pretty much. And this is my stock tire that I got my bike with. I have ridden in mud, snow. I just rode over a mountain, the mountain range that goes from California to Nevada. I just rode on the highway to California and then over the mountains back to Nevada on the same tire that I've been beating on for years now. This is the same air. I haven't even put air in this tire. Shut up. Customer service at its greatest here. Here's a little shorty muffler, which is pretty cute. It sounds nice. It's a really cute little muffler. I really like it a lot. You have the rear tail section is the exact same as the Templar 250. All these turn signals are the same. The rear brake is the same. Your plate area is the same. There's still plastic on here because that's for you to pull off. And it's all the same. Look, there's even still plastic on this. Ready? Want something satisfying? Ooh. Hit you with a double wham. Double whammy, spin whammy.
Wham surprise.
Wham surprise. Wow. Another feature that I wish that the Templar had, that the Strom Dlx does have, is it's got a 14 millimeter nylock nut to take off the seat. Where the Templar 250, it's the other way around, where the seat is threaded and then you put a bolt into the seat. So you have a nice little tiny battery right here. You have your CDI and your voltage regulator and all kinds of stuff like that. That's your turn signal module right there. You get all kinds of good stuff in there. Very simple, very easy. If anything ever breaks, which I've built quite a few Xpro products in my day, as you guys know, and I never really hear any complaints about things breaking. One thing you want to keep in mind though, when taking your seat on and off, is this little shoe right here needs to go underneath that, or the front is going to lift up and it's going to be an uncomfortable ride. So you're trying to get this piece right here and this piece right here. What you want to do is start further back, and what I like to do is just press down and then tap it with my hand, and then it sits perfectly. All right, guys, so I think that about wraps things up for today. There's 100 more little meticulous details I can go over, but I think that's a good overview for today's video. Let me know what you think about the Strom Dlx down in the comments below. If you'd like to pick up this bike as well as a wide array of other motorcycles from us, there is information on where to get this bike as well as a variety of others that we can build here for you down in the description. So with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and like I said, let us know how you're doing down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. This is a good bike.
Nice. the classic